How long I've been waiting for this. Woo, I'm about to...
Oh, Gambit. He's the definition of almost. Almost an X-Man. Almost a leading man. Almost the star of his own movie. Channing Tatum was actually Fox's original choice to play Gambit in X-Men Origins. He was cast, he was ready, but a scheduling conflict with G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra pulled him out of that film. And that single change is why Gambit's cinematic history never moved forward cleanly. Out of everyone tangled in the X-Men timeline, Gambit got hit the hardest. That timeline is fractured. They wanted him in the original trilogy, and later, Channing nearly carried a solo Gambit film on his own. Then after years of rewrites, delays, and finally the Disney-Fox merger, it was shelved. But then, in 2024, there was a resurgence. And I have to mention all of this because Channing Tatum is confirmed for Avengers Doomsday. So even if Gambit's screen time was short and messy, all of it matters. And to see how we got here, we have to go far back into the archives. The first official archive entry doesn't feature Tatum. After the scheduling conflict pulled him, the timeline adjusted. Taylor Kitsch was recast for the role in X-Men Origins Wolverine. In this branch reality, Logan finds Remy LeBeau. Running an underground card game in New Orleans, they don't know each other, and they don't trust each other. But that tension is instant. The moment Logan mentions Victor Creed, Gambit freezes. Something shifts in his eyes. Then Logan calls him by name.
Why would you think I know that?
Well, because I know who you are, Gambit. You're the guy who escaped, and you're the guy who's gonna take me back there.
And the fight begins. Gambit charges his cards, like a grenade, and sends Logan exploding through a wall.
What do you do, exactly?
Gambit's mutation charges energy into anything he touches. Cards, staff, you name it, he can weaponize anything. That explosion you saw, that's his mutation at work. Outside, the chaos gets worse. Sabretooth shows up, fists fly, and Gambit, not aligned with either of them, launches himself off a rooftop with his charged staff, landing hard enough to knock everyone back. It's the first time we see how he moves, how he fights, and why he's dangerous. Logan eventually breaks the staff, forcing Gambit into retreat. Afterwards, things cool off. Logan asks Remy one simple favor: to take him to Stryker's Island. But first, a quick note. William Stryker is the architect of the Weapon X program, and he operates an off-books island facility built to contain and exploit mutants. Its records are sealed under the highest clearance. Gambit agrees, not because he likes Logan, but because he hates being used by Stryker even more. Later, when the facility collapses, Gambit returns unexpectedly to save Logan from being crushed. They don't share trust, they barely even share words, but in that moment, they're allies. And after Logan loses his memory, Gambit tries to help him escape, but Logan chooses to go on his own path. Gambit leaves, and that's the last time we see him in the Fox timeline. Following the events of X-Men Origins Wolverine, some 30 years later, in X2, we learn Colonel Stryker has files on many mutants who don't even appear on screen. Names like Garrison Kane, the Maximoff twins, and Remy LeBeau are all on this list. This is actually the first on-screen reference made to Gambit. But then we don't see him again until 2024. Why? After First Class revived the X-Men franchise, Fox started looking for characters who could carry the next wave of films. One name kept resurfacing: Gambit. He had the fan base, he had the mystique, he had the flair, and now Channing Tatum was reattached to the role. Tatum grew up loving Gambit. This wasn't a paycheck for him, it was personal. So in 2014, Fox announced a Gambit solo film with him as the lead. For a moment, it looked like everything was finally lining up, but the trouble began immediately. Directors came and went, scripts were rewritten over and over. Fox couldn't decide what the tone of the movie even was. Was it going to be a heist film, a love story, an action comedy? Every version collided with the next version. And while all this was happening, the landscape was shifted. The Deadpool test footage leaked, it went viral, and it reset Fox's priorities overnight. Suddenly, Gambit wasn't the next big bet. By 2019, Tatum was done waiting. He and his producing partner Reed Carolyn offered to co-direct the movie themselves, if that's what it takes to finally get this thing made. But Fox hesitated. Handing a major franchise film to a first-time director wasn't a risk they were willing to take. So, while Tatum was pushing forward, something bigger was happening behind the curtain. Disney was finalizing the acquisition with Fox. Tatum was fighting for a green light, while the studio was evaporating. When the merger closed, Gambit was quietly canceled. 5 years of fighting just gone after one signature. And once again, Gambit became a ghost. A character with a whole lot of potential, but no place to stand. Fast forward to 2024, Marvel Studios releases Deadpool Wolverine, the film designed to carry the Fox universe to its final resting place, and in the middle of all of that chaos, Gambit finally walks back onto the screen. When Deadpool and a reluctant Wolverine get pruned by the TVA, they're dropped into the void, the graveyard of forgotten timelines. It's a wasteland built from erasures, abandoned variants, and stories that never found their ending.
Think of it as purgatory. Reed called it a metaphysical junkyard, where anything useless goes before it gets annihilated forever.
And it's here, at the edge of the forgotten realities, that they meet the Resistance. Mutants pulled from different branches, all surviving under one dangerous figure, Cassandra Nova. Among them is someone fans never expected to see, Gambit, played for the first time by Channing Tatum.
Who's this?
They call me the Gambit.
Do they? Are you sure you didn't just really want them to, but it never quite worked out?
This variant has been trapped in the void for so long, he jokes that he might have been born there. He has no home timeline, no anchor, no origin, just survival and whatever liquor he can get his hands on. And he does not like when people drink it without permission. Wolverine learns that fast. But the moment you really understand who he is comes during a quiet beat. Gambit thinks about everything he never got to do, every fight he never got to finish, every life he never got to live.
Sick of hiding. Let's face it, our worlds forgot about us.
Wouldn't never learned about us.
Once the team agrees to stand against Cassandra, Gambit steps forward. Cards charged, no hesitation. And this is where the payoff happens.
You know how long I've been waiting for this? Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself here. And when you get out of here, you have a drink for me, yeah?
Over a decade and a half. That's how long Tatum and fans alike have been waiting for this version of Gambit to finally appear. He does not disappoint. We see him swing his charged bow staff, blowing apart enemies with kinetic cards, and move with the same swag he always had on the page. His return feels like redemption, the kind nobody predicted but everyone respected. Almost like Reggie and Bad Boys Ride or Die. From there, Deadpool and Wolverine confront Cassandra, a portal opens back to Earth 10005, and the Resistance watches from below as the universe begins to heal. When it's all over, the TVA confirms Wade's reality is regenerating. He asks about the forgotten heroes in the void. He wants to know if they can be brought home. B-15 tells him she'll try. Back in the void, Gambit stands alone looking over the aftermath. A portal opens behind him. He turns and smirks. We don't know who opened it. We don't know where it leads. But what we do know is simple. We will see him again in Avengers Doomsday. It's funny, after all that chaos, Gambit's story feels like it's only just starting, but that's how the multiverse moves. I hope this gave you a better understanding of who he is and why his story still matters. Comment below and tell me anything you think I might have missed. This was his story so far, but another one's already waiting to be told.